Excited to go live for all of you here today because I'm going to be sharing a process that we've been following within our own business and within Ben's practice that has allowed us to create month over month growth for the last 5 years as we've been growing our businesses and growing our practices. And this is the exact same process that we take all of our clients through that allows us to very, very quickly take them from being stuck at either zero, being a brand new business owner, or being stuck at 10K, 15K, and very, very quickly add upwards of $10,000, $20,000 to their monthly revenue very, very quickly, just by refining a very few key functions within the business. And so what I want to do here today is not only take you behind the scenes to show you how we create clarity within our business and how we decide what we need to be focused on so that we can always know what we need to do next, that we can stay in a state of momentum within a practice. I want to actually show you a brand new resource that we've created, which is an over 20-page workbook that's going to break down this entire process, show you exactly how we help our clients, and it's going to give you so much clarity on where you're at within your business, how far you have to go to get to where you're trying to get, and help you identify what the biggest issues are within your business right now. And so my goal for this entire week, if you've watching this inside of the Cash Physical Therapy Headquarters Facebook community, you know we have an event going on right now, the March Momentum Madness event, where my only goal is to help you have clarity within your business, help you better troubleshoot what's been going on in your practice, to understand what it is you need to do next to turn the corner within your practice. And so this resource I'm about to share with you is the ultimate tool that is going to show you exactly why you're at where you're at in your business and what it is that you're missing that might be holding you back from having success. Now, if you're watching this and you don't know who I am, I'm Jordan Mather. I'm the CEO of Clinical Marketer. And since I was 18 years old, I've been working with physical therapy brands to grow their practices online and create a better patient experience. And I've been running Clinical Marketer for the last 5 years, where we've taken a framework that Ben and I created out of a state of desperation that allowed him to take his practice from 150, 200K a year, where it was struggling when the pandemic first hit in 2020. And we created a new system that allowed us to scale his practice to where it's now doing $2 million per year. And he is entirely removed from most of the day-to-day management and has been out of treatment for over 2 years. And now we've been taking this exact same system and we've been applying it and installing it within the members of our coaching programs. And it's been allowing them to get unstuck and to create more time and financial freedom and flexibility within their lives than they ever thought possible in a time frame that they definitely didn't think was going to happen. We're taking people whose dreams, their 3 to 5 year goals, and turning them into 12-month projections because we're able to create crystal clear action steps based off of the 5 functions that we know every single business has to have, auditing these within these businesses and creating a step-by-step roadmap of out of these 1,000 steps that need to happen. Here's step 1. Here's step 2, here's step 3, and here's exactly how we're doing it successfully within our business. And this is why our clients are able to get such fast results. So let's talk about what these 5 core functions are, these 4 pillars, as we call them, of perpetual profit, of predictable profit. Okay, they're as follows. There's lead generation, there's lead nurturing, there's conversions, fulfillment, and then retention, upsells, side sells, and referrals. Okay, so there's a few categories in here, but that all basically is optimizing patient lifetime value, which is the ultimate determining factor of how healthy is your business outside of just profit. How healthy is the overall delivery of the business? How good of a product are you actually providing the marketplace? Okay, so I'm going to say those again: lead generation, lead nurturing, conversions, fulfillment, and then retention, upsells, referrals, and reviews. Okay, and so those are the only five core functions that you need to worry about as a business owner. And for many of you, you're stuck because you're allowing the marketplace to distract you with a lot of things that you really don't need right now. Maybe someone convinced you that you need to start an online coaching program. Maybe they've convinced you to start a Facebook group, or have you doing nothing other than workshops every single day and just hustling your face off. And I want to share these 5 principles in this workbook with you because I want you to have a form of defense. Because as an entrepreneur, you're going to be bombarded by so many different messages and so many people trying to convince you to stray away from just focusing on these 5 things. And it creates a lot of confusion. And whenever there's confusion, whenever there's uncertainty, it kills all momentum. Then you become stagnant. Then you're just grasping at straws. If you're watching this and you feel like you're grasping at straws a little bit, like you're not really sure what's going on within your business, just know you're definitely not alone. We all feel that way until we create a framework, a communication system that gives us constant feedback from our business that pinpoints exactly what it is that we need to be working on next. And so what we basically do, and before I take you through like what I recommend everyone do and how to get this workbook, I want to explain to make sure it's perfectly clear what these 5 things are. So number one, lead generation. Okay, most people, and if that's you, if that's the number one bottleneck you have in your practice, put lead generation below. Most people really struggle at figuring out how do you acquire leads, and they don't even fully understand what leads are. Leads are people who have given you their name, address, and contact information, not address, but their contact information, and given you permission to follow up with them. Okay. And so you can do this through networking. You can do this through workshops where people are actually signing up for something, or you can do this through paid advertising, content creation. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but this is the most important element in these 5 things. It's almost like a stream. You always want to solve the problems upstream and install them one at a time. And then once it's built, you operate it like a cycle. Every single month, we review these 5 areas, identify which one is the biggest bottleneck right now. And then for that month, we only focus on that bottleneck. We solve one thing at a time. That's what creates this momentum. And that's what creates this clarity because we're getting a lot of feedback from that specific area. So within lead generation, we have to be able to predictably and with confidence know that we're going to get an X number of people contacting our business, whether that's from our online listing, whether that's from our website, whether that's from paid ads, whether that's from workshops, whatever it is, you need a consistent, predictable way to acquire those. Because if you aren't confident in your ability to generate leads, you can't create any sort of momentum because you don't know where your lead or how much money you're going to be able to make next month. You're caught in a perpetual state of fight or flight. And whenever we're in fight or flight, we're unable to make the necessary decisions that are really going to move the needle in your business. And we're unable to make the kind of connections with other individuals and with our patients that would ultimately get them to believe in even more within the process and get an even better result. And so we have to know how many leads we're going to be getting so that we can have the confidence and the peace of mind every day to not only deliver a world-class experience, but to also be able to make the right decisions by creating the space necessary to really think about the numbers and figure out where it is we need to go. Okay, so lead generation. Individuals who are raising their hand and contacting you or giving you permission on a consistent daily basis to contact your business. Now, if that's something you have or something that you don't quite have yet, and that's your bottleneck, put lead generation in the chat. The next one is lead nurturing. Okay, do you have a system to nurture the individuals who actually give you permission to follow up with them? Or is it basically they're either going to book with you or they're gone? Okay. If you don't have a lead nurturing system, put lead nurturing in the chat. This is a really important one because a lot of people, just because they give you their information doesn't mean they're at a space right now where they're ready to book and commit to a long-term care plan. Some people, they just know this is a priority and they need to get it done, but right now they have too much going on. And so they're just putting out feelers in the marketplace to slowly inch themselves towards making the decision that they know they need to make. And so we need to have systems for turning these people who have become curious enough to give you their information, to turn those people into fans, to make people actually like you. And that's the only job of marketing, to get awareness out in the marketplace and make strangers like, know, and trust you. And so just one ad or one post or one workshop might not be enough to push them across that line where they're ready to invest thousands of dollars into your brand. And so we need a system, an automated system to be able to deliver consistent stories and value and goodwill to our audience until they're ready to make a buying decision. Okay, so lead nurturing, that's the next piece. The next one is conversions. And I don't just mean, are you able to get people to show up to an eval and commit to a follow up visit? No, I mean, are you able to take complete strangers, skeptics, people who liked what you had to say, but they're still a little bit doubtful if you can actually get them to where they're trying to go because maybe they've tried so many things before? Okay, many of you, you know that you can sell to referrals. You know that you can sell to people who you've met, who have attended some of your workshops, but many of you have been tricked and you've allowed yourself to believe that you're good at sales, never really realizing that the only kind of sales you've ever done is selling to someone who is already pretty much sold. Okay, at that point, you're more of an order taker than an actual salesperson. And so we have to be able to adapt and to learn in order to have a healthy, thriving practice, to be able to have a repeatable process that can take a complete stranger, a skeptic, and get them to convince themselves that they need to move forward with you because the cost of working with you is only exceeded by the cost of not working with you and not solving their problem right now. Okay, so conversions isn't just getting someone to commit to the next visit. It is getting someone to like, know, and trust you in a short amount of time who didn't already have someone refer them to you or already go through all of your content or already attend one of your workshops. A perfect stranger. Do we have a process that can blow them away, that makes it abundantly clear that you are head and shoulders above anything else that they may have tried to solve their problem in the past? And how repeatable is that process? Are you relying solely on just nice person selling? Basically, like you show them you really, really know your stuff and you're a genuine, kind human being, and you're just hoping that's enough to close them? Or do you have an experience that is designed to create specific actions and wins and beliefs into each and every prospect, so you do have a repeatable and scalable and consistent process that turns skeptics into buyers? That's ultimately what we want, because not every single day you're going to feel like a really nice person. Not every single day you're going to have that kind of motivation and emotional energy to pour into every single person. And so if you're relying on just being knowledgeable and being kind to get people to convert, that's not going to work long term, because you can't be that version of yourself every single day. That's just not how life is. And so we need processes to be able to fall back onto to count on, so it doesn't take so much of our emotional energy. So that's number 3. The fourth function is actual fulfillment. How well are you able to deliver on the promise that you made during that sales conversation, during that initial evaluation? Or are you somebody, and I see this mistake all the time, where you put so much energy into your marketing, you put so much energy into your first phone call, you put so much energy into that first evaluation to sell the package, but you put so little effort into the actual fulfillment of that package. You turn into just a regular standard physical therapist, and you throw all patient experience kind of out the window. You forget that you don't only want to exceed expectations on the front end, you want to exceed expectations throughout. And so what is your process where on the 3rd, 4th visit, you know that people are going to be ready to give you a referral, or they're going to be ready to leave a review? Or at what point in your process do you know that they're talking about what they're doing with you with their family members at home? What are you doing, and how intentionally are you designing that experience to create these emotional wins, these action-based wins, not just the outcome-based win that they paid you to solve for them? And so we got to design this patient experience with intention if we're going to be playing the premium physical therapy model, right? And so that's number 4, the actual fulfillment of the care. And then the last piece is the retention. Are people actually sticking around? How many visits are they averaging per patient? Basically, how much money are they spending on average? This determines how good are you doing on not just the conversion side, but on the fulfillment side. How often are people referring? Okay, and once you understand what's the average patient coming in for in terms of numbers of visits, how much are they spending, and what percentage of them are referring others, and then how many of them are joining our continuity programs. The top physical therapy practices in the game, in the cash physical therapy game, the ones like Ben who are doing over 7 figures, the ones like our clients who have generated over 7 figures within the last year of just working with us implementing this, they understand how to optimize the 5 systems: the lead generation, the lead nurturing, the conversions, the fulfillment, and the retention. And they do not get distracted by anything outside of those things. Every single month, they're working on one thing to optimize one of these. And if there's something that some coach or some guru comes out and tries to convince them to do that does not align with one of the 5 core functions of a healthy cash practice, they ignore it. And so that's why it's so important to understand what these 5 things are so that you can easily filter out what you should and should not listen to. Because every single thing you do needs to be in alignment with one of these 5 things. Okay. And if at any point in the process something is broken, then all the other functions suffer. And so we have to have a way to be able to assess and evaluate where our current practice is in relation to these 5 things, and then how to identify which of these 5 things we need to focus on this month. And then on top of that, identify what of the 4 ways of solving problems is most appropriate for solving this particular problem. Okay, and so what I recommend everyone do, and I'll share my screen. I'll give you a glance of this new worksheet that we have because it's actually really, really cool. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so if you can see my screen right now, say screen in the comments, just so I can see that we're all in the same place, looking at the same thing. Okay, looks like we're all looking at the same thing. Okay, so this is our 22-page workbook that we created. And so what I want to do is to pull out a piece of paper, a napkin, doesn't really matter what. Let me find where we're at. Okay, so there's these 5 core functions, and I want you to rate every one of them on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, and if you're kind of split between 2 of them, just go with whatever the lowest one is, because we want to be able to identify any one of these that is beneath a 2. These are going to be your top priorities. Now, I'll send out this workbook to all of you soon, so you can see like how we define what the difference is between a 2 and a 5 is. But for right now, and this is something that you should do every single month, every single time you feel stressed or you're unsure of what you need to do next, all you need to do is write down these 5 categories and rate them on a scale of 1 to 5. And whichever one feels the lowest, that is going to be the next piece of your puzzle. Now, keep in mind, if you don't have any of these things yet, then you need to start with the first part, lead generation, then go into probably conversions, then from conversions to fulfillment. And then once you have those 3 primary pillars, then you start filling in the gaps and add in lead nurturing and start optimizing for retention. Okay, and so start with the 3 core basics: lead generation, conversions, and fulfillment. Then once you have those 3 pieces, then you add in the lead nurturing. Then you start optimizing the experience for retention and upsells. Okay, so that's kind of the order. And so once you have those things, every single month, whenever you're feeling stuck, write down these 5 categories, rate them out of 5. Then anything that is a 2 or lower, those are your must-solve priorities. Okay, and start upriver, because if you have a sales problem, but you don't have any leads coming in, then even if you solve your sales problem, you're not even going to know, because you're not going to have enough app-asks to even solve that problem, right? And so we need to solve these in an intelligent upstream, downstream order. And so once you do this, tell me in the comments, which one of these is the biggest problem for you? Which one of these is the thing that this month you need to solve? And so our workbook that I'm going to share with everyone. And if you want it, just put workbook in the comments. We'll make sure to follow up with you to get your hands on it. But once you have all of these things down, the next piece is really digging into asking yourself, like, okay, if I had 90 days to solve this one priority, the lead generation, what are all the different things that I could do right now that would allow me to solve it? Okay. I got ahead of myself. Here we go. Okay, so once you have these things, you want to start asking yourself, over the next 90 days, what's the number one thing that I need to stay focused on? Okay, and once you have that, write down every single idea you can possibly think of okay, what are all my options for solving lead generation? And don't get too lost in the weeds with this. Yes, there's an infinite number of ways that you could potentially solve this problem. But the thing is, your resources and your time aren't infinite. And so we have to be very strategic with, okay, what can I do that will take the least amount of time and effort on my end, that has the highest probability of success, and then prioritize those based off of your ability to actually execute, and not just execute. What is something that you can stay consistent with long term? Because sure, you can spend every single night and weekend networking and doing workshops, but how scalable is that? Okay, if you don't land on a strategy that you feel like you can be consistent with long term, that just means that you're going to end up exactly where you started eventually. And so we want to make sure that we're choosing a strategy that we can stay consistent with and going all in on it. And then once we have that either validated or invalidated, if it's validated, systematize it, delegate it, move on to the next channel. That's how we kind of keep going. But most of you, once you come up with a plan, you try it once and maybe it didn't work as well as you want to, and then you just move on to the next thing rather than getting really, really good at the thing once you kind of prove that it could potentially be successful. And so a lot of us are just moving on too quickly. Okay, so once you identify what your top priorities are this month, the next thing that we want to do is decide how exactly we're going to solve this problem. So there's 4 primary ways you can do this. You can do it by creating a new process. Let's say that your sales are very inconsistent. Let's say you're getting consistent lead flow, but your sales are pretty wavy, right? And so a lot of the times when we see this, it's not because you're not good at sales. It's because your sales completely are relying on your own energy, your motivation that day, how good you're feeling, because you don't have a systematized process for you to do step by step and just get in the habit, in the flow of doing that same process over and over and over again. You're relying on your own personal daily energy, which is a really tough way to run your sales, because we're going to have highs and lows. We're going to have things happen outside of business that make it hard to keep have that right energy and tonality and happy face every single day. And so we need to have a well-defined process that we can fall back on that doesn't take a lot of mental or emotional energy, because we're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, and so sometimes you're going to want to create a better process that makes something more scalable, that makes it easier to teach to other people once you start bringing on team. Okay, so the first way we can solve a problem is through creating a new process. The second one is through a project. Okay, maybe you've done this analysis and you've realized, I don't have any process or any system for following up and nurturing leads. I don't have a lead nurturing sequence or an onboarding sequence or a long-term follow-up sequence. And so these are projects. Okay, and so we can solve that problem right there by saying, okay, this week I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write a 7-email sequence for getting people to better understand why it is that I do this, why you specialize with the niche that you do, and what kind of results people can expect when they work with you. Okay, that's a project-based solution. The next one is a policy-based solution. Maybe you're finding that a lot of patients are not showing up to their next appointment. A lot of people are canceling last minute on you. And so you need to embed some sort of policy that states that if they cancel within if they don't cancel within 24 hours, then you get to bill them for a certain amount of money. Maybe it's $50 if they leave you hanging on your appointment. And that's something that you discuss on the phone. And so there's the policy solution. And so those are the 3 primary ways that we can solve every single problem. And so as you're going through this workbook, and as you're going through what pieces of the puzzle that you're missing, you need to start to think like, okay, which one of these things is going to be the best way to solve this problem? And if it's not a documented, if the solution isn't creating a better process, if it's not building a new thing that you just didn't have before, and it's not a policy change that needs to be made, then it's very likely that you just need to delegate that and hire an expert to hand off a piece of this to free up your own time. And so those are the 4 ways that you can solve any problem: document, projects, policies, and people. Those are the 4 different ways to solve problems. And so every single month, what we have our clients do is write down these 5 things, grade themselves, prioritize the ones that need to get fixed this month, the ones that if this problem disappeared, it would move the needle the most or free up more of your energy and more of your time. Choose one of those this month. Write down a potential document or a potential process, a potential policy, a potential project, and a potential person that could solve that problem. Identify which one of them makes the most sense, then make that the priority for the month. Now, doing this over and over again every single month, what it's going to do is it's going to get you very familiar and comfortable with solving problems through this process, because you're going to get more and more and more familiar with the problems of your business and the things that you've tried and learned through the trial and error of solving that problem. And as you do this, you're going to get really, really good at identifying what is the next problem. And through repetition, this is why our clients are able to go from 10, 15K months to doing $80,000 and beyond within just 12 months. Okay. And so it really comes down to just mastering this. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling confused day to day, not knowing what it is that you need to work on, it's because you aren't properly evaluating your 5 core functions of business every single month and choosing which one of these do I need to work on and solve this month. A lot of you are just doing too much. And all you really need to do is do a little bit of reflection, collect the right data, and create a plan and stick to that plan until you validate it or invalidate it, then move on to the next one. For many of you, we're listening to too many voices out in the world telling us what we need to do, when really all you need to do is just evaluate the 5 pieces, identify the problem this month, try a solution, move on to the next one. So if you guys want the workbook for this entire thing, please just put workbook in the comments. I'd be happy to get this whole document into your hands. But before I go, I do want to remind all of you that we have a ridiculous promo going on this week and this week only, where if you are a cash physical therapist and you're looking to grow faster and you want to work with Ben and I to not only help you audit and evaluate your business in these 5 areas, but actually install our exact practice systems into your business. That means our lead generation, our lead nurturing, our sales systems, our fulfillment systems, and our retention and continuity systems all within your practice in a matter of weeks, so that we can add a minimum of $30,000 to your practice within 90 days. I want you to put offer in the comments below. And I'd be more than, we'll follow up with you with an application, give you details in how the offer works. But we've never done any offer like this before with these kind of savings, so it does end this Friday at midnight. So for those who do chat with our teams and who qualify to work with us, you're going to have access to over $3,000 in savings on our flagship program. We're going to give you an extra 30 days in the program, and we're going to build you a high converting website absolutely for free. Now, our website is the primary driver for our sales. The Facebook ads gives us the momentum and the push that we need whenever we need bring on a new hire, or whenever it's a slow time of the season like the holidays. We use that to push us to maintain revenue. But our website, over time, it builds and builds and builds in traffic, and it becomes the primary driver. And so the earlier you have this installed, the better it's going to perform. And so we want to start you off with a website that is going to go the distance for you and that is going to yield the results that you need to have. And so if you join this week, you're going to get all of this stuff for free, on top of a world-class program where we're going to teach you every single thing you need to know to go from physio to CEO and really start to step out of being a job owner where you're kind of a slave to the machine you built, and really step into that CEO role where you have control. You have control over your time. You have a clear plan of action. You know how much money you're going to make this month, next month, and 6 months from now, and when exactly it is that you're going to be ready to start building a team around you. If you want to lock arms with Ben, myself, clinical marketer team, put offer in the comments. We'll follow up with you to see if you're a good fit for this offer. If not, that's cool. Even the types of questions that we're going to ask you during this call and for the application, that's going to give you more clarity on where you're at as a business and where it is you need to go. So you're going to get value out of this thing no matter what. So if you want the offer, just throw offer in the chat and we'll follow up with you. But everyone have a great day. We'll be releasing the workbook later this afternoon, so keep an eye out for it.